horse in mind this morning, ladies, so please do not worry about how you look.
Awesome. Like I said, this will be a little bit redundant for most of you, but we'd like to share this with those that may be new to our chapter. Again, my name is Sally Hellingsted. I am the chapter president for Colorado, also known as WENCO. Today we are here for the Why Should They Follow You seminar with Anna Conrad. Should be an excellent presentation that we will get to in just a moment. A few quick things about us. We are an organization that likes to empower energy professionals by building a diverse community through networking, education, and professional development, i.e. today, professional development. Some fun WENCO facts that were brought together by Jenny Sparks. WENCO, as I mentioned, stands for Women's Energy Network Colorado. Our chapter started in November of 2016 and is one of 20 chapters across North America. And if you've been on any of our sessions the last few months, you'll realize how exciting that is because everything has gone virtual. We have found the positive in COVID in being able to interact with other chapters on some of their sessions. So as a member, you have access to anything any other chapter is doing. And it's even easier to be a part of that now that we're in COVID and everybody's kind of moving virtual. So if you aren't a member yet, I highly recommend looking into it because for just $125 a year, you are able to, like I said, 19 other chapters do some really cool things. Like I've participated in some Boston chapter, Chicago chapter, and Texas chapter activities. So we currently have more than 475 members in our chapter, but we have more than 6,000 nationwide. So that's pretty incredible. A couple of other fun facts on there that you can read, but one of the things that I'm most excited about this year was that we launched the WENCO Water Cooler podcast in May 2020, and our first guest was actually Deb Ryan, who is on the call today. So everybody wave to Deb. If you haven't listened to it, you can definitely find it on Google, iTunes, and Spotify. So we really hope that you start listening because that helps us with our numbers. Some upcoming virtual events that we're partnering with Koga to do a virtual networking event, during their energy conference. And so that will be on next Tuesday, August 18th. Right now it is open to anyone that has bought a pass for that virtual Koga conference, the Energy Summit. On August 26th, this one I'm super excited about. I'm slightly sad that I'm in North Dakota and won't be able to actually get the wine, but we are doing a virtual wine tasting thanks to Pulsinelli. So the first 50 members get to go to this for free with them. And if not, there is a fee for anybody after 50 members. So it should be a lot of fun. There's Carboy Winery and they're pairing some charcuterie and a charcuterie plate with 5 different wines. And then we have this on September 23rd. I'm super pumped about the Amazing Race, which will be a virtual experience. Never done it virtually, but I love the Amazing Race. So I hope you guys get signed up for that because that should be an exciting time. We are going to do an in-person event again in September, where Women Workouts and Wine, and that is being pulled together this week. So that should be up and ready for registration next week. And then at the end of October, we normally do a luncheon, an annual luncheon, and this year we were going to add a summit to it beforehand. But because of the way things are, we have turned it all virtually. So we are taking the 4 sessions we were going to have at our summit and putting them across the week. So every day during that last week of October, there will be a 1-hour session with WENCO over lunch. And we will kick it off actually with Anna. She's one of our first speakers of the week. So that will be a super cool opportunity for people to connect through the week and then still kind of have our annual luncheon where we award scholarship winners. So all of that is on the website. So take a look. Please sign up and join us for any activities that you're available for. And then just as a final reminder, you can connect with us on social media. I am recording this today. I just wanted to warn you all of that. And we will share this on our YouTube channel afterwards. So without further ado, as many of you know, I don't like to read typical bios because I feel like you should probably read those before you come to the session so you know who you're listening to. But I love that Anna Conrad with Impact Leadership Solutions is not only on our leadership team, but she's also obviously a great executive coach. And she does a lot of wonderful work in trying to build you as a leader and kind of helping you through your career and making sure that you are the best that you can be as far as the leader and just a great person overall in whatever career you choose to do. But she's also an author, which I think is super cool. I have one of her books, honestly, and I haven't read it yet, but it is on my stack of things to read, so I'm really excited about it. But
that's my husband. He hasn't read either.
You're still married, so that's a good sign. But without further ado, please give a round of applause to Anna. I'm looking forward to what you're speaking on today, and take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, hello, everybody. I'm just so excited to be here. Do me a favor. As Sally mentioned, I love to see faces. because 55% of communication is actually body language, and we're very limited naturally to most of us to just our heads or our shoulders and up. So let me see your faces. Also, I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult this morning. If you can, on your name, I love how most of you have your first names on there. Also write down your company that you're representing. So what company are you with? The reason that I'm asking that is because a lot of you, I'm recognizing names. I do work in your companies already, so I can really pull in, I can relate some of what we're talking about to what's actually going on in your companies. So if you can do that, that would be absolutely wonderful. My job today is to make this the most impactful thing for you, as well as giving you, of course, lots and lots of tips to walk away with. The first thing that I'm going to ask you, though, is who would you follow? I want you to think about your current job right now. Let's say that you absolutely positively love your job, and you your manager, not your current manager now, but a manager that you've had in the past, is moving to another company. She's asked you to go with her. There is no additional compensation. It's what we call a lateral move. No compensation. There's not even a change in your job title. It's a truly lateral move. What would it take? What behaviors would she have to exhibit for you to follow her to the next company? Feel free to shout out your answers. We have a lot of people today on the call. Shout out your answers or write it in the chat box.
Support.
Oh, thank you, Regina. Regina says support. Regina, support in what? What do you mean?
Like right now, my boss, when I need help, when I need advice, when I need to just bitch about something, I mean, she's always there, and she always says like, okay, what do you need? You know, and gives me time for whatever it is.
Good, so she gives you the time. She's there for you when you need her. I love it. Anybody
Me too.
else?
I would say flexibility.
What do you mean by flexibility in what, Sally?
So I would think time. I mean, before COVID, it was ability to work from home every once in a while and wear yoga pants and get more work done at home. But time, and then also the ability to kind of be creative and brainstorm ideas and be open to hearing those.
Oh, I love that. So the open to hearing ideas and brainstorming as an equal partner. Great. Dawn, what about you? What would it take for you to follow somebody?
Well, and Anna, in the chat box, there is enthusiasm and passion.
Ooh, passion. Not
Yeah.
in a perspective, right?
Stacy that put that in there, so I'll let her answer if she's in the chat.
That was a joke, Stacy, by the way. I don't want to know what kind of passion. It's not that kind of a workshop today.
I didn't want to answer for her. There's also in the chat box, Anna is a good mentor, and then trust as well. And
Who put trust? And I don't have the chat feature pulled up on mine.
that would be Jenny Sparks.
Oh, Jenny. So Jenny, tell me a little bit about trust. It helps when it's a family business. I know that. But what else?
Well, trust is just really important to me because it's one of those things where and that's probably one of those things that would need to be a two-way thing too, right? Like if you wanted to follow somebody somewhere, you would need to trust them, and then they would need to trust you, and that's trusting like your skill set, your ability to be able to do the job, and you know that you can communicate well, right? And so trust kind of embodies a lot of these. I think it's like the parent level thing to me. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, great. Thank you. And we are definitely going to talk a lot about trust today. Brenna, how about you? What would it take for you to want to follow somebody?
I think just knowing that they're always there for you, you know, just knowing that they've got your back.
Great. Definitely see a lot of common themes today. And we are actually going to pull in everything that you've talked about today. So really great job, everybody. I am going to clear the screen right now, and we are going to keep going with this wonderful, wonderful discussion. Notice how nobody said they tell me what to do? By the way, I saw this shirt. I was shopping at Nordstrom's Rack, and I saw this shirt. I was so angry when I saw this that I stopped shopping at Nordstrom's for, I think it was 3 days. But you know what? That was a big deal for me. Most people, unfortunately, and this was in the girls section, you guys, that in order to be a true leader, you have to be bossy. But listen to the conversation we had before. It's actually quite the opposite. Being bossy, telling people what to do, does not establish trust. All right, show of hands. Anybody watch Hamilton? Yes. Amy raised their hand. I see a lot of hands raised. Yeah. Oh, Sally's got 2 raised. Hamilton, love this. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times now. And there's a great quote that actually gets built upon throughout the whole story. And it was, winning is easy, young man. And then towards the end, it gets building upon it. Governing is harder. And that is absolutely positively true. What most people, you might have seen people like this, they get promoted because they're damn good at what they do, right? I mean, they are a rock star when it comes to being an individual contributor. But when they become a manager, it is so much harder. It is harder to lead people. I am going to right now put in your chat bar, chat feature. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to upload. Oh, you know what? Sally, I don't think I have the ability to do this. So give me 1 second, you guys. I have it now.
You have it? Okay.
Yep, I got it now. I got it out. I have been on, Sally and I were talking earlier, you guys. I don't know about you. I think yesterday I was on Zoom, a Zoom call for 4 hours, 1 call. Does that sound familiar to anybody?
Yes, all day. Hence why the Zoom happy hours are not entertaining anymore, because I'm like, I did Zoom all day.
All right. In your chat bar now, in the chat window, you're going to see a handout. Please download that. You can write on it, or I have it in there for you to see as well. Feel free to just make notes on your own. It says, why follow you? It's a PDF. I know a lot of us these days, we are actually able, it's kind of great. We can actually write on PDFs. If you can't, just grab a sheet of paper out. It's not a complicated handout, as you'll see. So when we talk about leadership skills, why people should follow you, I have done executive development for over 20 years now. The majority of my days are actually spent in one-on-one executive coaching. And I'm looking at a lot of the companies that are listed here. And I've done executive coaching in quite a few of yours. And what I have found is that there are actually 5 key elements to true leadership, to have people want to follow you. On a sheet of paper, either a Word document, or if you can write on this PDF, or just a regular sheet of paper. In the upper corner of whatever you're writing on, I want you to think of 2 words or phrases of how you want people to describe you. Call this your leadership brand, and I will give you some examples. For instance, my leadership brand is, I'm a poised, compassionate learner. I'm really not hardly any of those things, but that brand reminds me of how I want to be seen. I have every one of my executive coaching clients do this at the beginning of our engagement. So make a note, 2 words or phrases of how you want to be seen. I have some people do strategic, inspirational, results focused. I caution against that, and you'll understand why in a little bit, but some people do that at the beginning of our engagement and they quickly change. Think about 2 words or phrases. This does take a little bit of time, so if you can't finish it today, my strong suggestion, is to keep this handy and revisit it. Does anybody feel comfortable sharing something that can't immediately pop to your mind? Deb, thank you.
Again, for me, it was coach.
Coach. Okay, Deb. Thank you. So you want to be seen as a coach. I
Mhm.
love that. Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, Sally?
Sorry, I'm the talker today, so maybe talker should be one of them. Authentic is definitely one that I think is very, very important to me.
I absolutely love it, which is why you have no problem dropping the F-bomb, my soul sister. I love it. So I'm going to share with you a story. I was at the the city in Denver's district attorney's office. I was doing a keynote for them. And one of the the ADAs stood up, and she wanted to be seen as Darth Vader. It's like, okay, not quite what I was expecting, but that's okay. I prefer to work with people who more are about the, the coach and the authentic. Is there anybody else? I can't see your faces, so please just holler out. How about one more person?
Calm.
Calm. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Is that Regina?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good, calm. Very, very good. So imagine with this leadership brand, everything that you do, you're going towards it. So Regina knows that if she's in a discussion with somebody that perhaps there's some tension, she can remind herself she wants to be seen as calm. It will change how she's acting. So let's go through these elements right now. And on this sheet of paper, or the one that you've written, so on this file or just a regular sheet of paper, we're going to go through each one. The first thing we're going to talk about is humility. Trust. Jenny earlier mentioned trust. Humility, more than anything else, brings trust in others. This is a wonderful, a wonderful survey that was done by Harvard Business Review. And this is talking about 360 assessments. And a 360 assessment, if those of you that don't know what it is, think about your peers, your manager, your direct reports, other people in the organization telling you exactly what they think about you. Both written comments as well as rankings. What their survey showed, what their study found, and it's absolutely true, is that the higher somebody rates themselves, usually the less effective other people think they are. So the better they think they are, the less effective other people do. And this comes down to humility. I have found the same thing. As I said, most of my days are spent doing one-on-one executive coaching. This is a true example of a 360 I did last week. I knew the first question is about communicating. I looked at this and I'm like, holy crap, I know what's in store for me. This is a COO of a company that's actually based in Florida. And when I saw this and I saw that he rated himself a perfect score on communication, I honestly did not have to go any lower. This is indicative throughout the whole 360 of 32 questions about how he was rated. And oftentimes, again, the higher we rate ourselves, the lack of humility we have, the lower other people rate us. If you're humble, you understand you have room for improvement. You're always seeking better and you're always looking out for others. Sally, would you mind putting up that first poll, please? So just quickly take like 30 seconds, your gut response to this poll. Wow, I know you can't see the scores coming in, but they probably will not surprise you.
Looks like the majority has voted. Anna, you want me to shut it down?
Yeah, go ahead and shut it down. Thank you. All right. So it looks like most people, 68%, have said they've been on a team where people have actually been reluctant to admit mistakes, all of these, ask for help, apologize, acknowledge that somebody is better than they are. This is very indicative of what I usually find. What do you think, by the way, if you're on a team like this, where this is truly the case, and we're not going to put the other one up either, Stella, so you can go ahead and close down the poll. If you have been on a team where people are afraid to do all of that, what are the leader's role in it? What is the leader's role in this type of a team? If you were the leader, what would your role be?
Just dealing with conflict throughout the team because everyone's fighting all the time and not necessarily listening to each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, good. So your role is to deal with conflict. Jenna and Taro, what is a leader's role if there is on a team, if people are unwilling to admit their mistakes or ask for help, what do you think the leader's role is?
I would just try to foster a safe environment so people wouldn't feel bad making mistakes or admitting they're wrong.
That is good. Oh, I love that. So Nikki, Nikki's a Great Western, and Nikki, I had the pleasure of being executive coach to your CEO for quite a long time. What have you noticed? What does your leader do about admitting that he's wrong or asking for help or apologizing?
Yeah, I'd say admitting that they're wrong is probably the kind of primary thing with my boss specifically. Just kind of, there's, I think, especially with the miscommunications we've had over the past, couple months with COVID, just kind of realizing, hey, that was my fault. I didn't follow up. I was upset you didn't do X, Y, Z, but it's really on me to follow up as well. So kind of taking that equal blame and understanding that, we're just in a different time.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. And taking that equal blame and admitting to that, that is wonderful. When it comes to being vulnerable and showing humility, really, that's what trust is all about. Trust is truthfully about vulnerability. As the leader, it's your job to demonstrate vulnerability, to show it. It's okay if you're leading a team, risk losing face, you really don't. When you say I was wrong, you're not losing face, you're showing that you're human. Creating an environment that does not punish vulnerability. This is really hard because as humans, we survive with that defense mechanism. Admitting weaknesses and failure, another really, really critical thing. Are you able indeed to say that you're wrong? Can you say, I need help? Are you able to go to your peer, you guys, somebody that, you're vying for your manager's attention and say, you know what, I would like you to go ahead and take this, John, because you really are better at this than I am. Saying, I don't know. Those of you that are in a culture that is very analytical, so it's very important to be accurate. I don't know is a hard thing to say. Really important, though, to show you don't know, because people, especially your leaders, your managers and above, believe it or not, they would rather you come back, say, I don't know, let me think about this. They would rather you do that than to give them an answer just completely off the cuff and it be wrong. And of course, I'm sorry. Love this cartoon. In corporations, oftentimes knowledge is power. By being able to share the power and share the knowledge, you will be seen so much better by your peers and especially your direct reports. On your sheet of paper, whether it's one that you printed out, you're writing it, or on the handout, how vulnerable are you able or willing to be with your team? I want you to write on a scale of 1 to 10, how vulnerable do you think you are? Now, I am going to go really fast. We have a lot to cover. If you want me to stop or slow down, just speak, if you don't mind. I can't see you. If you do in the chat bar, that's fine. Sally, would you be so kind as to monitor the chat bar, just in case people feel more comfortable doing that?
Of course, yep.
Thank you. Okay. So we're going to move along now to element 2. Element 2 is warmth. If you notice, Sally and I were talking this morning, and behind me, I actually have my living room. I went back and forth between living room and office. I want to be seen as warm by people that I work with. To me, that's a better connection. It's not just me though. Think of the leaders that you trust. It's that warmth, it's that connection. As humans, we follow people, as I think it was Jenny said earlier, that we can trust that they have our back. Another study from Harvard Business Review. Communication issues, as we know, communication is big, that prevent effective leadership. Which one of these, which ones actually have to deal with warmth? As a leader, what of these have to do with warmth? Or to phrase this a different way, where can you show warmth?
Anna, I'm sorry to interrupt you. In the chat, Kelsey asks, how do you differentiate between warmth and weakness as a female in the industry?
Oh, I love that. You know, anybody have an idea for that? What I love about what I do is I don't have to always be the expert. Warmth versus weakness. Can anybody answer that question? What does it mean to be warm?
I think being warm means kind of recognizing the humanness in people, and seeing people for who they are.
Oh.
And I don't think there's anything weak about that.
No.
To go into that, I think weakness is, yeah, I don't think that there's anything tied to weakness with warmth. So
Yeah, because in that, to be warm, Jenny, you're absolutely right. To be warm and to connect with the person, that means to look at them and to honor them for who they are. That doesn't mean weakness. If you're warm, so if I am, that was Jenny that was speaking. So if Jenny and I are talking, and Jenny knows that I look at her as a person, that I'm connecting with her, that I'm warm to her, all the more reason why she's going to accept that I have a different opinion than she does. If she knows that I care about her, she's going to be okay with that. Let me give you another piece of advice. In corporations, decisions do not happen during meetings. They happen before meetings. Think about all the major decisions that are made at your company. They don't happen during a meeting. They happen before meetings when people talk. If you're not warm, if people don't trust you enough and they don't respect you enough and feel open enough to come to you and to talk to you, your voice is not going to be heard. We have to be very careful worrying about being seen as weak or traditional female characteristics. That is a mental model, a story that we tell ourselves that really holds us back. We don't have to emulate men and say we have to be strong and we have to be tough. That's not what some of our strengths are. And that's okay if it is. That's quite all right. But you have to be approachable. Does that answer I hope that answers your question. And if not, please feel free to speak more. What other, when looking at this slide, can you please tell me where else is warmth? Does anybody see it in recognizing achievements?
Anna, we might be on the wrong slide with you because we're looking at a slide that the communication issues that prevent effective leadership.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
I was like, I think that was
That's the right slide. So let's look at that. So think about these communication issues that prevent leadership. In communication, where can you be warm? Where should you be warm?
Got it. Okay. Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Nope, I misspoke.
Certainly in recognizing employee achievements and meeting with employees is a time to express warmth.
Good. Yeah, absolutely, Laura. Thank you. Samantha.
Knowing an employee's name or talking to people in person or on the phone.
Oh, absolutely, Kristen. Thank you. Thank you. And then even asking for people, not asking for their lives outside of work. It's okay as long as right within parameters. You don't want to ask, hey, how was that strip club the other night? But building the warmth and asking them about their life, both inside and outside of work, is okay. How do you show warmth? How do you show warmth? Stephanie at Excel, how do you show warmth?
I think offering people the opportunity to just kind of talk, especially now we're all working remotely and I don't see members of my team in person anymore. But every time I connect with them individually, I always just ask, how are you doing? And give them that space to answer as much or as little as they're willing to offer.
I love it. And Stephanie, what I love about that is you're letting them figure out or tell you, what are you willing to say? That's wonderful. People show warmth by, of course, asking those questions and listening. The eye contact, even on Zoom. The reason that this is so important, that even on Zoom we see each other's faces, is eye contact. It's social cognition. Being able to see people's eyes tells you so much about them. And what Stephanie was just saying about listening, really critical, active listening. I'm going to, after the session today, I'll be sending you 4 emails, one a week, and I'll have additional resources in there on active listening. How can you truly actively listen so they know that you hear them and that you understand them? You also show warmth by learning about them, making the conversation about them. One of the questions that I have all of my executive coaching clients do is I have them remember the acronym AWE, A-W-E. And when they're speaking to their direct reports for development to learn about them, they constantly ask, and what else? So when you're giving a solution, for instance, to your manager, or you have a direct report, if you have direct reports, explaining to you what they mean, asking and what else will help dig a little bit deeper. Finally, we show warmth by smiling. Even if you cannot see the person and they can't see you, they can hear it in your voice. So these are 4 ways to show warmth. On the handout or on your notes, quickly write down something that we just covered that you will do to help show warmth. Excuse me 1 second. The next element of leadership is confidence. At WEN, we have last couple of years, I've done a whole workshop on confidence, and I'm looking at some of the companies here that are represented. I've done this session in quite a few of your women's groups. So I'm not going to go, a lot of you are familiar with this. I'm not going to go to it in too much detail. So I'm going to hit some of the highlights of how to project confidence. The first thing that's important to understand is that confidence, you guys, confidence is not a skill. So a lot of my executive coaching clients, especially my female clients, come to me and they want to help with their confidence, to project confidence. It's not a skill I can teach. It's a feeling that you invoke in yourself and in others. That's why this Maya Angelou quote is so important. People will not remember what you say. They'll remember how you make them feel. Feeling confident is something to work on constantly. And again, I'll give you a few suggestions here, but we definitely have a lot more. We get in our way. I want you to think about all the stories you tell yourself that stop you from showing confidence. I will screw this up. I don't know enough about such and such. Everyone will think I'm stupid. Everyone else is smarter than me. These are stories that we tell ourselves that get in our way. Another wonderful quote: the most difficult times for many of us are the ones we give ourselves. We usually are, especially when it comes to confidence, our own worst enemy. Remember, confidence means I can handle anything that comes my way. We are living in unprecedented times right now. Every day, most of us are challenged with different things. Every day, we can build upon the confidence because we survive it. strong suggestion that I have for all of you is throughout your day, throughout your career, write down anything, any little tiny accomplishment that you have. Keep a running list. Number one, not only is it good for your career, because when you have your performance reviews, usually we only think back on the last year, the things we've accomplished. Well, if you have things written down throughout, usually we only think about the last 3 months that we accomplished. Imagine if you're able to remember things that you've accomplished from the beginning of the year. That's one thing. Another good thing that it does is you can look back on it when you're not feeling confident. You can go, oh yeah, you know what? When I spoke up in that meeting, I was able to really make an impact on whatever it was that so-and-so was talking about. I'm sharing with you right now some words that kill is what we call them. Saying these things constantly will erode people's confidence in you. If you say any of these things, it's really important that you stop. Do not begin a sentence with, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, you guys, that I was late today. Or even better, I'm so sorry, you guys, that I didn't have that handout uploaded into the chat feature before you joined. Instead, thank you. Thank you for giving me a second so I can upload this. I'm sorry, you guys, that I was late to the meeting. Instead, imagine saying, thank you for waiting for me. You're taking the onus off of you, right? I was late, and you're putting it, not the onus is the wrong word, but you're taking the focus off of you, I was late, and instead you're showing appreciation to them. Thank you. By the way, I will send a list of this out in those emails after today. If you want more information on the confidence model, because there's 3 big pieces of it, just email me and I'm happy to send that to you. The next element is the platinum rule. Is anybody familiar with the golden rule? Yeah? What is it? What's the golden rule?
Treat others like you like to be treated.
Oh yeah, Amy, treat others the way I want to be treated. All right, deep breath. I apologize if I'm gonna offend anybody here. Well, here, wait a minute, I just said that. I said I apologize, it's the same thing. Not even doing what I said I'm gonna do. I'm not leading by example. Instead, thank you for your openness to looking at it a different way. Because when it comes to, when it comes to leadership, actually, the golden rule is the worst thing that you can do, you guys, because you're making it about you. I don't want you to treat me the way you want to be treated. I want you to treat me the way that I need to be treated. So let me put that a different way. It's important to treat people the way that they want to be treated, to talk to them the way they want to be spoken to, because it is about them and not about you. Those of you, some of you have gone, had done communication workshops in your organizations. Sally, would you mind putting up another poll?
Not at all.
Would you mind pulling up that last poll? Thank you so much. Good. All right. It looks like majority of people had voted. Look at that. So this is very typical. Most of us don't know how to communicate with others. Instead, we feel like we're respecting them by communicating with them in the way that we want to. But 77% of you, your heart is in the right place. It's human nature, though, to treat others, to speak with them the way that we want ourselves to be spoken with. So for instance, some of you, you know what, you might like it if somebody upsets you, to you, respect is looking you in the eye and just say, you know what, you really pissed me off there. I don't appreciate it when you said that I was, I don't appreciate it when you interrupted me in the meeting. To you, that's respect. Like, thank you. I appreciate you telling me that. To other people, it might come across as aggressive or assertive in a negative way. It's really important that you understand what is needed from your direct reports and from others, so you as the leaders can communicate with them in the way they need you to. Because leadership is not about you. It really is about the other person. And Sally, would you mind stopping that poll? Taking that poll off?
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay, I have it on my screen still. Oh, look at that. We think about intent. It's easy to say assume positive intent. It's harder to do it. The interesting thing about this is most of us think that we know what the other person is going to say. Most of us believe that. Instead, though, we need to communicate with them, again, the way they need to. And this especially is true, you guys, when it comes to closed doors. If you have a closed door, in your office, you'll notice people will gossip, and it'll usually be, they'll make a story up that's usually worse than what is truly happening. Is anybody familiar with the term servant leadership? If you are, please tell the rest of the group what that means. What does that mean, and what does this have to do with it? What does servant leadership mean?
I mean, to me, servant leadership means your role is to, I mean, that goes back to that support. It is your role to make sure that everyone else is successful and do what they need to get there, not about your promotion.
Oh, that's great, Amy. Yes, yes. Your role is to support and serve them, serve other people, and to understand that your employees work for the company. They do not work for you. Your job is to do what you can do to help the other people. Take a minute, and on the sheet of paper, take not even a minute. Let's just do 15 seconds. What skills do you have that we are not utilizing? The first thing that comes to your mind, write it down. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Okay. What skills do we have? I'm going to, let's see, who haven't I? Oh, Kelsey at Dolan. What skills do you have that Dolan is not utilizing?
I would say my writing skills.
Oh, good. So your writing skills. How, if you did utilize your writing skills, what would you do at the company to help the company? What would you do differently?
I don't know. That's kind of a difficult realm for me.
So imagine if your manager asked you that. If your manager said, Kelsey, what skills do you have that we're not utilizing? And you said, my writing skills. Asking him or her asking you that question, what message is sent to you?
That they see more potential in you, I guess.
Good. Absolutely. Yeah, they see more potential. And can you imagine if you know that's something you're good at and you're able to then incorporate it into your daily life, into your daily work life? Could you imagine then how much more impactful you could feel? Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah, definitely.
How about, looks like I've talked to most of you guys. Jennifer at Marathon. Oh, that's a good one. Jennifer at Marathon, what skills do you have that are not being utilized? Ooh, we might have lost Jennifer at Marathon. Well, that's good for Jennifer, but it's not good for Jamie at HBK. Jamie, what skills do you have that are not being utilized?
I would say probably some of my compassion. I think this goes back to our previous question about like warmth versus weakness. I'd say I'm like a fairly compassionate person, but like with your direct reports, like if something's not getting done properly or not getting done on time, just trying to like balance like getting through to your, you know, to your peers as to like, and your employees, what needs to be done while having that like understandingness.
Good, and that compassion is important. By the way, I'm going to give you guys another insight into my world since this is the second time it's come up. I'm not a big believer in, I do not believe in stereotypes. I do believe in, however, and especially society is showing it now more, we have different expectations, societal expectations, of course, for men and for women. With the women that I coach, most often, it's helping them with their confidence. It's helping them show more strength out in the workplace and having them see that it's okay to do that and to be more, be more assertive. They're not seen as aggressive. With men, it's usually helping them show that warmth. It's very interesting. And usually the warmth is shown at home, but they're afraid to bring that back into the workplace. And when they bring it back into the workplace, it's amazing the connection then they have and the impact they have on their teams. And again, with women, I oftentimes have to do the opposite. Oftentimes it is more of the assertiveness. If, by the way, if any of you have any questions on any of that, please reach out to me after. Now, we're talking about, again, we're on an element that helps you be a better leader. Imagine asking your manager, what are the 3 things I can do to support you better, right? Because your job, oftentimes we think our job is to make our manager look good. Imagine instead thinking of your job indeed is to help your direct reports look better. Imagine in your next one-on-ones, if you're a manager, asking them, what are the 3 things I can do to support you better? If you lead people, I encourage you to ask this question. I also, even if you don't have direct reports, imagine asking this question to your peers. They might think you're nuts at first, but if you can start looking at your peers as customers, your relationship with them will improve so much. Okay. So that was, again, the platinum rule. On your handout, write down just really quickly an action you will take that will help with the platinum rule. So on that handout, make a note. The reason I'm having you write notes is because I want to make certain that today's time is impactful to you. It's important that we spend every minute we spend, especially on Zoom when we're all kind of zoomed out, that it's very powerful.
Hey, Anna.
Yes.
I have a question before you go on.
Yes.
You were talking about women needing to be more confident. How do you balance that with not coming off as aggressive?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Kristen, that is such a great question. And that has, believe it or not, it has a lot to do with what we were talking about earlier about communication styles. You have to make certain that you understand what style the other person is. So, Kristen, have you ever done a communications assessment such as MBTI, Insights, or Social Styles?
I've done, I can't remember what they were called. I know I should be in trouble for this. I've done e-colors and one other, and I can't think of what it is.
Well, that's okay, Lynn. Then I won't. I was just going to use the terminology, but I won't then. Pretty much all assessments, they're very similar. It is just really, just different vocabulary, and it's about the facilitation. So think about, and this is for all of you, I want you to think about if you've done a personality assessment, think about the style that is more about getting results. If the style is more about getting results, if you are, if you're worried about coming across as being too aggressive, and that style you're speaking to is more about getting results, that you'll know then that you can be more assertive. You can say, this is what I need from you, because they'll hear that in a way that is respectful to them. So the style that is more about getting results, again, there it's a more of a blunt communication style. Be brief, be bright, be gone. If, however, the other person you're speaking with is more about relationships, so in insights, it's what we call the amiable style. If it's about relationships, you know you cannot speak the same way. You can still say, you know, you can still say what it is you need or what your thoughts are, but the focus has to be on the relationship aspect first. It's speaking to them in a way that they feel is respectful. Kristen, do you have an example that we can work with? So it's not just theory?
No, I think that helps. I've just been told, some people are like, hey, you need to be more confident and be more out there and speak your opinion. And then other people have said, whoa, you've been way too aggressive. And so it's hard finding that balance. But I think going in with the mindset of, hey, this person is like this person's more blunt, so I need to come across to them as blunt, or this person's more of a relationship builder, so I need to make sure that as I'm talking to them, continue building that relationship instead of being blunt so that it doesn't come off as aggressive.
That is exactly right, Kristen. Those of you that have had 360s, it's not uncommon to have the comments. The first comment is, this person's a bully. The next comment is, this person needs to speak up more. And it really, so it's your job, you guys, as leader, whether you're immediate people leaders or just in the company, you want to be seen as a leader. It's important to understand what their communication style is, and that's what you have to modify. If you have questions on how anybody wants to, in more information about communication styles, give me a call or shoot me an email, and I can talk you through what different styles are, or some different tools that might be useful.
Okay, thank you, Anna.
Welcome. Now, last but not least, competence. In order to be seen as a leader, of course, you got to know what the hell you're doing. My warning to all of you, those of you that are, there's a certain level that you're not expected to do the work anymore. Your job is not so much about the technical knowledge, and it's usually the VP and above level. You hire people for that. Your job is more about the emotional intelligence. Until you get there, though, you have to be seen as competent. Again, this is our last one. More than likely, all of you you've gotten to where you are because you're damn good at what you do. Think about the next step in your career, whether it's a step up or if you want a different career altogether. What skills do you think you need to have? And I really want, come up with at least 3 skills. I want you to think beyond technical knowledge. Think beyond technical knowledge. I'm going to push you guys to think about exactly what we're just talking about, such as what Kristen was just saying. Think about communication skills. Conflict management was mentioned earlier. Think about all those other skills that are not necessarily related to the technical aspects. Write down at least 3 of them. And this is something for you to do at a different date. So you have at least 3 skills written down. Come up with a key action plan, how you will learn or improve this skill. Again, competence is an important part of leadership. You get to a certain point, competence doesn't necessarily mean the technical skills. And that's why I'm pushing you to have at least 1 skill that is not technical knowledge. And write an action you will take, whether it's one of those things that you've written down, or even this action could be just complete this, I call it skills gap chart. Man, we have covered a lot. what questions do you have for me? Okay, everybody clear as mud on all this? I know I've thrown a lot at you. The last page of your handout is making it real. Again, don't worry about doing it right now. You can do this later. My strong suggestion is to take a look at somebody on the call and come up with an accountability partner. If we were doing this as a longer workshop, these are things that we would do as small group discussions. However, we don't have time, of course, but have somebody on the call as an accountability partner. Figure out which one of these 5 elements you really want to focus on. My strong suggestion is to take one element, spend 3 weeks on just one element until it becomes natural and ingrained with who you are, and then move on to the next. That is a great place to start. Feel free to email me with any questions. I think, and I'll talk to Sally about this, we're going to go ahead and send those emails out to everybody anyway, but I'll have to ask Sally about that. What questions do you have for me? We have covered so much.
So Stacy put in their wonderful presentation and gave her a lot to think about. So thanks, Stacy, for being on here if she hasn't left already.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think above all, like, I think one thing I've learned is I have a lot of things that I can work on. One of them is listening, Anna. And that's one that I struggle with a lot. And I think it's even harder now that we're in this space of COVID where it's literally like, I can turn off my camera and answer these emails. And so, which I admittedly did, Anna, sorry. But I think listening is one that I'm gonna work on. But I think that the biggest thing that I realize and that I try and remember is that we are always learning and growing. We don't have to be perfect. You know, even though women, a lot of people expect women to be perfect and we're expected to be a certain thing in everybody's eyes. And I think that just being humble and realizing that that's not necessarily true and that there's always room for growth and improving ourselves.
Absolutely. That was really a good way to end it. Thank you. Thank you. Well, and I apologize, you guys. Well, here I'm apologizing again. God, I'm not leading by example today, am I? It has been a hell of a week. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being okay with me and my 3rd cup of coffee, and I spoke fast. And as you can tell, I've got such passion about this and passion about helping women. So reach out to me. Everything we talk about is confidential. So please do not hesitate. If you have any questions at all, or you just want to say hi, please just reach out to me. And thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anna. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Sally, will you stay on?
Definitely. I'm going to stop recording really quick.